Hello, welcome to part 1 of Back to Basics on a Weber Kettle. You don't have to have a Weber. I find the cheap ones you get in like garden centres, they tend to not last as long. They probably last one summer. They've gone all rusty and they're just no good. A Weber, they just last and last and last. As long as you look after it, you clean it, you cover it up so the elements can't get to it. I mean, don't get me wrong, they have got an enamel paint over the whole of the outside of it, so it won't rust. But it's good to have a cover on it, because all like things like spiders and stuff won't constantly trying to get inside it, and I've got like trees that are constantly throwing little pines and all sorts. It just like you can brush off the cover, and yeah. So basically, I'm going to show you the ins and outs of a Weber kettle. This is the Master Touch. They do vary. Some have on the top vent you got the turn vent. On the bottom of some of them you have like 3 of them. So there's a lot of mucking about with when you're doing low and slow. You have to keep adjusting all 3 of those. I find the Master Touch better because it's got the propeller easy clean on it. So in fact, I've got 2 of them now. If I'm doing a barbecue for a birthday or something like that, and I've got lots of people in and I'm doing loads and loads of burgers, I need more than one, because it's just one doesn't hit it, and the pellet smoker in the back just doesn't seem to cut the mustard when it comes to doing sausages and burgers. So yeah, let's get this open and I'll show you what's inside. Here is my Master Touch. Ignore this for the minute, because that's a rotisserie bit. I've just got that on there for storage because I don't have a lot of storage. But what I was talking to you about, the turn vent, some of these Webers will have like 3 of these on the bottom, and you have to adjust them. On this one, you'll find when I take all this off, you'll see on the bottom here, you can actually see all the ash just here. There's a little lever here which I will pull, or slide to one side, and you can see it kicks all the ash out. And that's what I mean by the propeller. It's great because it's you can knock all the ash out when you're doing low and slow to keep the airflow going better, and also you can close these to slightly open, as you can see in down here. If you look down there, you can see just a little hole there, and as you open it up more, if I pull the right lever, it opens up the vents even more. So that's really important for low and slow. And then you get things that come with it, like some barbecues, some of the Webers come with the baskets. Some of them will come with these, and basically, just like the basket, you put this in there, it's basically going to stop any charcoal from coming this end, so you can do low and slow. You can have a hot zone and a cooler zone, so meat this side and coals on that side, and that's what we call indirect. There are many accessories you can buy for a Weber. You can get a pizza oven, which I will show you in another video. I've got two rotisseries. One is just a normal rotisserie, and the next one is like a rotisserie slash pizza oven where you can take the sides off and you can use it as a pizza oven, or you can use it as a stacker to make your grill higher. So if you're doing like direct and you don't want too much of a flare up and you're doing like steaks, that sort of thing, it'll keep it high enough. A bit like a Chud box from Chud's Barbecue in America. Yeah, so basically what I just showed you in here with the propellers, when you're cleaning it out, right, what it is, it's just this lever here, and as you can see all the ash is falling out, and you've got these points here that will show you full airflow, not as much airflow, so that you can do it low and slow, and that should be completely shut. So that has shut all the vents. So if I put it to the next one here, they're slightly open, as you can see right there. So as you go to the next one, it's then opened it a little bit more. I mean, what you can do is, once you've like got better at low and slow, you can then, with a permanent pen or just a little drill to drill little dots, you can probably just do them down here actually. You can do another one just here, that slightly open, closes it even more. A little bit further that way, that opens it a bit more, and you can play with it and do it to how you want it really. Then you got the ash thing here. As you can see, I've done a lot of cooks and I need to empty that, so I'll go and empty that and I'll show you how to put it back on. Right, now we've emptied it, to put it on, what you want to do is you want to get these bits just here to go in this little ridge here, and sometimes it can be a bit fiddly doing it with one end. Squeeze this so you can get that under there. As I say, it can be fiddly, and there you go, it's on. Also with the baskets, there are many ways you can use these. I will show you in a different video. You've got the slow in sear, which is an add-on. I mean, there are lots and lots of accessories you can buy for this. It's not just a rotisserie. It's you can get different grill grates. I've got a grill grate that will open up more for the like the hinge grate for the slow and sear, so you can get more charcoal in. So yeah, if you're doing low and slow, you'd probably have these slightly closed, and what you want to do is you want to keep checking a thermometer. You put the lid back on. As you can probably see, I've got one here and I've got one here. Now this one is near on useless. All it is doing is taking the temperature of the coals that are just here, because what we want is this vent to be over the meat, so the smoke is coming up here, it's going round over the food and out here. So this wasn't my idea. I got this from Chud's Barbecue, and I saw that he put one just here, so I can now check the temperature near where the food is. But at the same time, technically you don't have to do that. I did it because it just gives me that little bit of error sorted. because if you're doing thick cuts of meat, you're going to use a temperature probe that's probably like the wireless ones, which are really great, and I'll show you again in another video in the series when we do big cuts of meat. You put the temperature probe in the meat, it will then tell you the ambient temperature of the barbecue, where the meat is, as well as telling you the temperature inside the meat. But yeah, that's your top vent. We've explained the bottom vent just there. Now we've got that slightly shut. Then what you can do is you keep that one slightly shut and have this one fully open, and you'll find after a while it's all about fire management. If you've got a pellet smoker, then you're going to set it at a temperature. It's going to stay at that temperature. There's no mucking about with vents and all that sort of thing. It makes it's keep it simple, stupid barbecue. But although this is a smoker, it's not great for giving you a lot of smoke in your food. Whereas if you use one of these, this will give you so much more smoke in your food, and you'll notice a difference, because it's actually burning proper chunks of wood, and the food will be just gorgeous. So yeah, you'd have your vent slightly open, and then have this open. Then you check your temperature probe on here if you want to put one there. Then you also, like, if you've got a meter plus or an Inkbird wireless temperature probe, you can then check like the ambient temperature, and then you can, instead of opening up the lid to check things, you can just check the app. That's what's so great about the wireless ones. And yeah, just keep adjusting the vents until you get to the temperature you want. If you're doing low and slow, then you'll want 250 Fahrenheit, which you see on there, which a lot of people in America will use Fahrenheit. Over here, we in the UK, we tend to use Celsius. You don't have to. You can change your you can change most of the temperature probes. You can change it to Fahrenheit or Celsius. It depends, whatever you like. I tend to go for Celsius because a lot of the time it's double digits, and I can remember a double digit more than I can 3 digits. So yeah, that's the basics of the layout of the Weber. There was one more I'll show you. This one in particular comes with one for the lid to go on the side, but you can buy accessories that will go on the side and everything. It's not a must, it's just a luxury. But if you buy a Weber, look after it. It will last you 50 years at least, even more. So stop buying those cheap barbecues from like Argos or any home base is shut now, isn't it? They've closed down. Anywhere, any garden centre you can get, well, you can get barbecues from most garden centres. I mean, they even sell them in Lidl and Aldi in the summertime. But I will show you that it's autumn now. All right, I'm still barbecuing. There is no season for barbecue. It's 365 days of the year. Don't believe people when they say, "Oh, well, you got a barbecue out. It's not barbecue season." Nah, don't listen to that crap. Get your barbecue out. Have some fun. And, make a fire in the garden. It's the fun of it, working with fire. Us men are like cavemen, we just love all that sort of stuff. But yeah, that is the basics of a Weber. So yeah, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you know when I upload another one, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.